fabulous firsties. Today we're going to talk about non-standard measurement. And in non-standard measurement, it's a little bit different from normal measuring. In normal measuring, we measure in feet and inches, centimeters, meters, everything that's a standard unit. I have a ruler here, and those are standard units with inches and centimeters. But in first grade, we don't measure like that. We measure a fun way, and it's with non-standard units. Now, there are some rules to it though. So when measuring with non-standard units, you get to be creative. You can measure with anything, and that's the cool thing about it. But here are some rules. When you're measuring, I have some coins here, and I've got some pennies, and I've got some dimes, and I've got some quarters. But if you notice, they're all different sizes. And so when you're measuring with non-standard units, it has to be the same unit. So I could just measure with pennies and I would be fine because they're all the exact same size. But if I threw in and measured with pennies and quarters together, it wouldn't work because they're different sizes. So make sure that you choose one thing to measure with. And then the other thing is if you do choose that one thing, like I have some crayons right here, you have to make sure that they're all the same size. So notice I have a beautiful, full, barely been used crayon. And then I have a brown that's a little bit shorter because it's been used more. And then I had a gray crayon that broke. So here's an end, and here's a tiny other little nubby end, and here's another broken crayon. So even though they're all crayons, they're different sizes. So these would not work. You have to use crayons that are the same size if you're going to use crayons as a measuring tool. So just want to throw that in there too for you. But I'm going to do some measuring with some pennies first, and I'm going to measure this book with these pennies. Okay. Now, when you're measuring, there's some rules to this. You start at one end, right on the edge, and it has to be a straight line. Well, measuring a book, that's easy because a book is a straight line. But if I did a bottle of sunscreen, notice there's a curve to it, but you still have to measure in a straight line. We'll go to there in a minute. Also, there can be no gaps when measuring. Actually, let me change. I'm not going to measure with my pennies. It's hard to see them. And I think I have enough dimes to get me started. And they'll be easy to see. So you're going to start right on one edge, right about there. And then you're going to put the other one right next to it. Remember, straight line. And the big thing in first grade is no gaps, no overlaps. So that means that they truly just touch. If you're leaving some gaps in between there, it's not a good measurement. Also, with overlaps, that means one is over another a little bit. They're not truly edge to edge. So make sure you're being real careful when doing your measuring. Now, get that in a straight line. Now, this is where I love measuring because you also have to be a problem solver. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dimes, but I still have a ways to go. So look what I'm going to do. I'm at 7. I'm going to take this one over at the end because I'm out. And I'm going to put it over here. And this is number 8. And then 9, 10, 11. And then I just have, that was monkey. And then I have a smidge left. And I don't think that's going to be enough to add it on. It's less than half. So I'm going to say this book is about 11 units long. And our units today were dimes. Now, if I took the same book, and I told you you get to be creative when measuring. I found some of our fancy dancy flossers in the bathroom. And I thought, oh my goodness, that would be kind of fun to measure with. Now, the thing is, remember they have to be, they're the exact same length, but they have to be laid down the exact same way. Remember, no gaps, no overlaps, and in a straight line. So notice these are bigger than dimes. Will I use more than 11 of these or less than 11 of these? Let's see. I'm trying to go in a straight line from edge to edge. And if it doesn't go exactly to the edge, that's okay, because that's the part with first grade, and it's about. I love that word, about. Ooh, and look right there. It is about 1, 2, 3 units long. So with the dimes, it took 11 units, and with the flossers, it only took 3 units. Can you see why it took more dimes? Yeah, they're smaller, aren't they? Okay, now I told you I would get to the sunscreen really quickly, because if you look at this bottle, there's got a curve to it. So I'm gonna, I'll lay it down this way. But you're still just going to go in a straight line and pretend like there is just a little edge right there, going boop, 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 just like that. I think I'm going to stick with my dimes for right now, and I think I'll measure a little bit more with them. Ooh, or no, I could do quarters. Now I only have 3 quarters, but that's okay, that's plenty, because remember my trick, taking one from the end and keep counting on. So let's see, start right on the edge, 2, I'm at 3, remember, no gaps, no overlaps, and in a straight line. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's a little bit left over, but that's okay, it's close enough. So this sunscreen bottle is about 8 units long, and these units are our quarters. So when I say units, I just mean our measuring unit, okay? And I love that word. It's just how many we're measuring, how many it took. Okay. So you can use anything when measuring. We do a lot of feet measuring in first grade. It's just easy to get a bigger distance. So if you do measure from one spot in your house to another spot with your feet, make sure you're going in a kind of the straightest line you can, and then make sure it's you start exactly at the one spot, and it goes heel to toe, with no gaps and no overlaps. So it gets a little tricky with that part too. But I hope you enjoyed this. Measuring is so much fun, and you get to be creative with it too. One of my favorite things to measure with is Oreos. I don't have any Oreos right now, or I would. But you can also measure with cereal. Just make sure, like if it's Cheerios or whatever, it's the same same thing. So don't measure with Lucky Charms with all the different little marshmallow pieces. That would not be good. Ooh, but marshmallows, that would be fun to measure with. You can tell I like my food and math. Okay, I hope you have a great day. Enjoy and have some fun measuring with non-standard units.